What is up, everybody? I am NerdRage36, and I've got an interesting topic this time around. Like I mentioned last time, I've got some other ideas for videos I wanted to do that have a bit that I can do a bit more cohesively compared to what I was trying to do for my 30th birthday video that never ended up getting made, but whatever. And I know that I ran out of stories to talk about when it comes to doing gaming memories videos, but this is sort of along that line, but not really. This is my gaming regrets video. And it's not really in response to anything. I mean, I know Happy Console Gamer did a video about this topic, but this isn't really a response to that. I mean, maybe it could be, who knows. But it's just some sort of stories and sort of like just things that I remembered that didn't really fit within the same feel as my memories videos, but I could talk about here. So, I guess let's just get right into it. So, first off is not necessarily a regret, but it's just a huge gap in my gaming knowledge that I feel like I should rectify at some point, and that is the Elder Scrolls series. Now, I mentioned in one of my memories videos that I was always intimidated by open world games. I didn't want to get lost. I didn't want to just wander aimlessly doing nothing and not actually being able to beat the game. And one of the reasons behind that is back when Skyrim came out, my brother got the game, and I tried messing around with it, and here's what happened. I escaped the execution. I didn't follow either the Empire or the Rebels. I just kind of ran in a completely random direction, found a barn, like hid inside there from the dragon, found a cave, went through there, like found a big grizzly bear, fought it, and escaped into the overworld, and there was nothing really for me to do. Like, nothing appeared on my compass. There was no NPC to talk to. I had no idea what was going on. So I was just way too intimidated. I was way too confused and just decided that Skyrim wasn't for me. And I feel like that's pretty unfair. So eventually I do want to rectify that, especially now. Like, since then, I've gotten more and more into open world games. Like, I've gradually expanded my understanding of open world game and design. So I think I'd be a little bit more comfortable at least attempting to play an Elder Scrolls, but I'm not 100% sure where to start. Obviously, like, the big one everyone's been playing for the past decade plus has been Skyrim. And they did put Skyrim out on Switch, and having a handheld would be a lot more convenient with trying to play such a massive game. But my brother told me that in terms of the overall story and scope of an Elder Scrolls, Oblivion is a better place to start. It's a little more interesting than Skyrim. And I know they just did that remaster, but you know me, I like physical games. And I do know that there is a re-release on the Gen 7 consoles that has all the patches and DLC and basically makes it a more operable game. So maybe I might go with that one or Skyrim. I have no idea. I do know for a fact, though, that I'm not going to start with Morrowind, even though that would be a game I might want to pick up for my original Xbox collection because it was at least console exclusive to the Xbox. But that would definitely be after/if I ever get into the Elder Scrolls. So maybe one of these days I'll check it out, but it's not quite on my priorities list, but it's definitely in the back of my mind. Next up, another not technically a regret, but it's just something that I kind of wish I was able to do at the time. So I've mentioned before that there was a Blockbuster that my brother and I would rent Star Wars Bounty Hunter from all the freaking time. And it only occurred to me after the Blockbuster was gone that it was actually incredibly close to my house. So when I was in elementary school, I think around the 5th grade, I started walking to and from school. And like I honestly just enjoy walking in general. Like, I like going around in circles around the neighborhood or going to a park or something. I like hiking and stuff like that. I'm a pretty active person despite my other hobbies. But in fact, my dad would brag to a lot of his friends that I'm the only person that he knew who would drive home from school, but then walk a 5-mile round trip to get a burrito. It's like, even when I'm able to drive, I still prefer walking places, and that's still true to this day. But yeah, I found out that Blockbuster was quite literally within walking distance of my house when I was growing up. Like, my elementary school that I would walk to in the 5th grade, that's about like halfway there, or maybe like a third of the way to that Blockbuster. And it's like, well, damn, like, I could have just walked to the Blockbuster just to hang out. I mean, I like going to game stores and hobby stores just to sort of hang out, talk to the staff, and like do this stuff, talk about games and movies and other things that I enjoy, just talk about our hobbies. And the Blockbuster could have been a hangout spot. But the problem is, it was most definitely like torn down and replaced with something else. I think they replaced it with a bank after a while. It was most definitely torn down by the time I was walking to school, and which means it was definitely torn down by the time I could actually hang out places by myself without my parents. So that's why it's not technically a regret, but it's still something that I think about, and it's a little funny. All right, moving on to actual gaming regrets, starting with a pretty big one. The Super Nintendo. Yeah, this is going to be a little weird to explain, but let me just get it out of the way. I actually hated the Super Nintendo for a while, and it was over something really stupid. I used to hate this thing purely out of spite. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, there was a point in time when I was like finally able to start watching YouTube regularly, like I'd say about middle school around that time, and there was a particular group of retro gamers on the platform who would talk about how amazing the Super Nintendo was. But they would never talk about it in the sense of like, oh, all the great games that released on this thing and how big it was back in the 90s. They would always hype up the Super Nintendo by shit-talking everything that came after it. Like there's a certain group of like retro gamers, both like on social media in general, not just YouTube, where there's a time period between the last game on the Super Nintendo and the release of the first Dark Souls game that they think is shit. And they will tell you about it nonstop, like how much they hate that particular era in gaming. And that just so happened to be the era I was growing up in. So you hate everything I grew up playing and loving, all just to hype up this thing? Well, I'm going to hate it out of spite. Yes, you can call me stupid all you want. I call myself stupid for that because, yeah, the Super Nintendo is awesome. It's just really frustrating that that whenever I would hear people talk about the Super Nintendo, it would always be at the expense of the stuff I grew up playing. And it's like, that's just not fair. That's just not fair. And there were two YouTubers in particular that bother me the most about it. I'm not going to name names because they are those two individuals are very entertaining, and I do enjoy watching them from time to time. One more than the other, though. But still, that sense of elitism that they exhibit is just it's frustrating. Again, I'm not going to name names, but I will amalgamate their faces. If anyone could tell me who these two are based off of this weird-ass face I created with them, I'll be impressed. Next up, a relatively simple regret, and that is Sin and Punishment, Star Successor. Now, I don't regret playing this game. I regret not playing it for a while, and it's not like the same as the Super Nintendo. I didn't dislike this game whatsoever. No. I was really interested in this game. This was a game that I first experienced at a GameStop Wii kiosk. Like, does anyone remember demo kiosks like that? I found this game through a GameStop kiosk, and like just the visuals and the shooting, those really intrigued me. But one other weird thing is, you see that thing on the character's back? That always reminded me of those blue eco nodes in the precursor Underwater City from the first Jak and Daxter game. Am I crazy? Like, am I crazy? I don't know. But yeah, this was a game that I really wanted since checking it out at that demo kiosk. And my family got a Wii. They kind of fell into the craze around I think 2007, maybe 2006. I don't remember the exact dates, but my family bought a Wii. It was in the living room for everyone to enjoy, but it eventually defaulted to my room when they kind of lost interest. And this was something I actually really wanted to play on it. I actually didn't even know the name of it. I just knew the box art and I knew what the gameplay looked like, but I didn't know the name of it, so I couldn't really ask for it as a present. But by the time I was finally able to buy my own games, I could never find it. And it was bothering the crap out of me, like, for years. But eventually, as you can tell, I got the game. And part of me is actually kind of, like, happy that I didn't get it all the way back then, because this is a short game. This is a really short game. Like, I think it maxes out at a few hours, like maybe 3+ hours, which is actually not uncommon for rail shooters, but that would have definitely bothered the crap out of me as a kid. So maybe it's a good thing I never played this or owned this for myself, but I still regret never being able to get this when I still had a Wii. Like, yeah, it's a short game, but I had so few games to play on my own back then that this would have probably been a replay constantly. I do like replaying games. You'll see that pretty soon. But yeah, it's a little frustrating that this game was so hard to find, but now I have it. Next up, and I talked about this in my pickups video with Final Fantasy and my history with turn-based RPGs, but yeah, I often wonder, would I have gotten into turn-based combat had I experienced it not through Final Fantasy 1 Remastered on PSP, but through the games that actually got me interested in turn-based combat, like, years later as an adult? Would these have actually gotten me into the genre sooner? Or would they have confused me just as much as Final Fantasy 1 back then? I honestly don't know, but I can't say that I don't think about it from time to time. It's like, would either of these have filled in the gap left behind by Final Fantasy 1 and just made me want to play more turn-based games outside of Pokemon? Who's to say? Although, it is interesting because, like I said with Xenosaga, the combat, though turn-based, is different from most like menu-based combat systems, and it's much more engaging. So who knows? Maybe this would have been a proper turn-based entry after Pokemon for me. Again, we'll never know because I made the mistake of wanting to play Final Fantasy 1 on PSP. But like I said, when I got it, I still want to give it a fair shot now that I understand the genre and all the quirks of it a lot better. Next up, and I talked about this in my very first Memories video when I got my PSP. I was, like I've mentioned, I was Jedi mind tricked by my brother into selling my DS. Like, I got a DS, my parents got me a DS while I was waiting for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl to release. And so I wasn't really playing a whole lot on it. I think the one game that I had for the longest time was the weird Ben 10 beat-em-up game, which that's... I mean, I was a kid. It's like, hey, cartoon I really like. Game based off of cartoon I really like. I will play it. But, and part of me does wonder, like, why I never thought about other games to get while I was waiting for Pokemon. I mean, like, I grew up playing Mario, so why didn't I get New Super Mario Bros? I mean, for crying out loud, one of my friends had this game. I played it at a friend's house, and it was like, this is one of my favorite Mario games. I think it's probably the best of the new Super series overall. The rest are still good, but I think the first one was still the best. So, like, why didn't I ask for this game while I was waiting for Pokemon? Or another example, like I mentioned, my elementary school had weird, like, they had promotional items for Pokemon, but they also had like a lot of pop culture stuff in the library. Like, actually, fun fact, my elementary school, you know that meme, that Star Wars meme, signature look of superiority? My elementary school had the book that was originally from. I'm not joking. But they would also have magazines in the library, and they would have some gaming magazines as well. And one of those magazines that was advertising that I thought looked really cool was Wario. Now, I'm actually not sure if it was Wario Master of Disguise or Wario Land 4, because I remember this box art specifically, like, this was absolutely the box art in the magazine, but the levels that they were showing off in the screenshots were clearly more jungle-inspired. So, I don't know, maybe they were showing off both games. Like, when did this come out? 2007. So, probably not. I have no idea. Like, the level design looked like Wario Land 4, but the box art was clearly Master of Disguise, so I have no idea. But, and also, the DS Lite could play GBA games, so if it was this game that it was advertising, why didn't I just pick this up? Or why didn't I pick this up? Like, honestly, this box art sticks in my head. Like, it is pretty damn iconic, but, like, yeah, like, you might ask, like, why did I settle for a shovelware licensed game instead of getting actual games while I was waiting for the game I wanted most? And honestly, I have no idea. But here's the thing. That's not my regret. Because as much as I wish I had actual games to play for the few months that I had my DS, I'm still glad I got the PSP. The PSP is a great system, and I'll be talking about that a little more later. Here's where my actual regret comes in. So I got my 3DS in 2012 when Dream Drop Distance came out. Okay, so 2012. Sure. Why did it take me 7 years later to finally buy this game? Like, seriously, it's not that I didn't know that the 3DS wasn't backwards compatible, because I was also playing this a lot when I got my 3DS. So, like, I could have gotten the Pokemon game that I really wanted. Oh, for crying out loud, I could have gotten, like, all of the other Pokemon games that I missed out on during the DS generation, including, like, I talked about it last time, I saw Blue Rescue Team in a newspaper, and I really wanted it. So, like, why did it take me so long to finally get all of these games, especially because so many of them were stupid expensive by the time I did? I could have gotten these a lot sooner. Why did I never think about it? For crying out loud, I could have gotten the other Mario games that I wanted. Who knows? Maybe I would have become a Sonic fan a lot sooner. Like, I was not optimally playing my 3DS. Like, the most I was playing, like I said, was Kingdom Hearts and Legend of Zelda. That was about it. And, like, there were so many, like, Look at this. Look at all of these DS games that I could have been playing alongside, like, the ones that I already had. My big regret with my 3DS is not taking more advantage of the backwards compatibility and the cheap prices of games when I was in high school. Now, a lot of games are pretty damn expensive, especially on the DS. So, for crying out loud, what was wrong with me back then? But of course, another of my big regrets is basically the same thing with my 3DS, but with my PSP. Now, throughout middle school and high school, these were my PSP games. Like, I only had these 3 games, and I played them a lot. I played them nonstop, and these are great games. But there are so many other games that I'm like, why did I never pick these up sooner? And, like, Like I said, maybe I could have become a Sonic fan a lot sooner, or freaking Mega Man. Although Powered Up did make me rage quit when I played it for the first time last year. I still persevered and I still beat it, and I was extremely satisfied when I did. But this would not have been my speed when I was a kid. Although Maverick Hunter would have definitely been much more up my alley. Although that one electric level was still. Like, that would have still made me rage quit. It almost made me rage quit when I played it as an adult. But then, like, other games like Ratchet and Clank, like I said, the only Ratchet and Clank game that my brother and I played was Deadlocked. And we never finished it. But why did we never play any of the other Ratchet and Clank games on PS2? And why did I, as the PSP guy, not play this? I don't think I ever even saw this game on store shelves when I was in high school, or, like... Why? Like, I never knew this game existed. I just found out about it like a few years ago, and it's a good game. It's a really good game. But there are two games in particular, and I've talked about this before, that, like, all of that with, like, the DS and my PSP, like, that I'm upset that I never got a chance to play when I was younger. There are two games that I am straight up angry I never got to play when I was younger. First one is Ape Escape on the Loose. Like I said, this is a collectathon platformer that plays like a Zelda game. And, like, obviously, if I found this game when I was younger, I would have played it before I had gotten into the Zelda series, but it would have still been a fantastic game to me back then. It's like, this, I wish this was in my regular rotation on the PSP. But the one game that I regret the most not playing, you probably know this, if you know me, Daxter on PSP. Here's the thing. I knew this game existed, but I thought it was bad, and it was over the dumbest reason. So you see this screenshot on the back with Daxter dressed as Neo from The Matrix? I saw that, and I think I even saw a screenshot of him sort of as a Viking in a Game Informer magazine, and I thought it looked stupid. I thought, like, that just doesn't seem right for Jak and Daxter, so I avoided it. By the time I finally bought this game a few years ago and played it for the first time, and I've played it a couple of times now, but the first time I was playing this game, I'd be playing for a few minutes, stop, stare off into space, and think about how much I want to go back in time and punch my 13-year-old self for not playing it sooner. This game is freaking amazing! Like, okay, for those of you who think that Jak 2 is too much of a drastic change from Precursor Legacy, this game fills in the gaps perfectly. It mixes the gameplay of 1 and 2 almost exactly. It's like a perfect mix of the two. Like, it takes the more isolated, platforming-heavy sequences with precursor orbs and collectible-based progression from Precursor Legacy and mixes it with the sandbox hub area, mission structure, weapons, and vehicles of the second game. And it works so well. Heck, it does something that I honestly wish more games would do, and that is it combines the combat element, aka the gun, in with the platforming. It's almost kind of like Mario Sunshine, but if Flood was actually a gun. And it's like this would have absolutely, if this game would have been almost a guarantee in my regular rotation on PSP, this would have absolutely been like a repeat play game. Like, this would have gone in between my repeated playthroughs of all the other games. Like, this would have been like I would have played this so goddamn much. Every other chance I got, I would probably have played this game if I wasn't such a stupid 13-year-old. I'm making up for lost time because this is an awesome game, and if you have a PSP in 2025, or if you have a PSP at any point, play this game. Don't make the same idiotic mistake that I did. But yeah, that's basically all, or a good chunk of, maybe like with my memories videos, I can turn this into a mini series. But yeah, those are my primary gaming regrets. Just some stuff that I wish I could fix about my past as a gamer, but yeah, it is funny to think about. It is funny to like look back and it's like, I missed out on that, missed out on that, missed out on that, missed out on that. What was wrong with me back then? But yeah, it's pretty funny to think about, and why don't you guys share it in the comments below or make a video of your own? I think this is a fun topic. Like I said, Happy Console Gamer did one like this, and who knows, maybe it can be like an ongoing thing with multiple channels. Or I'm just doing this for fun. But with all that, I am NerdRage36, and I'll see you later.